The Nike Pegasus Plus is a very interesting shoe that I've had my eye on for a while now, but I wasn't quite sure if I was going to buy it for one reason, a reason that I'm hoping I can answer for you guys today. That reason, of course, being what's the point? This is a very interesting shoe. I have had a lot of interest in it when it first came out, but I was very unsure of whether or not it would live up to the expectations I myself and many others have put on it. And today we're going to be talking all about it. Now, first of all, I want to say that this shoe comes in at $180, a very expensive price point. But that being said, it's been out for quite some time now, so you can get it quite a bit cheaper. I bought this for just over $80 off of Dick's. I got it back in May, and I've been able to run quite a few runs in it, mainly workouts, which is something we're going to be talking about, of course. So I do feel like I've had a good chance to test the shoe out, and I feel like I've had all the questions I've needed to answer myself answered, and hopefully I will be able to provide those answers to you guys. And of course, if you have any questions, drop them in the comment section down below. But with that being said, let's talk about this shoe. So like I said earlier, I use this shoe for workouts. For $180, unless this is a shoe that I'm going to be running long runs in, I would prefer to use it for workouts. The only time I'm spending over, let's say, $150 is for a shoe that I'm going to get a lot of use out of mileage wise in one run, if that makes sense. So this shoe I used for quite a few different workouts, mainly threshold-esque workouts, some progression runs, a couple interval workouts that were a little bit quicker than threshold. And I was quite surprised with how quick it really was for a non-plated shoe. It does have Zoom X foam running down the bottom, and it is a pretty responsive shoe, I would say. Not insanely responsive by any means, but it's comfortable, it's fast. It's honestly a pretty good looking shoe in my opinion. Not all shoes look as aesthetically pleasing as the Pegasus Plus, in my opinion. Like I said, the purple is a little out there, but it was the only colorway that I could get for this cheap, and I was like, I don't mind wearing purple, so that's why we're rocking this one. And I've had a lot of fun testing it out, like I said. So really the question comes down to, does it work for workouts? And of course that answer is going to be yes. But deeper, what's the fastest it can go? Now, me personally, I think that the progression run that I ran in this was probably the perfect workout for a shoe like this. Starting at a slower pace and picking up over time. Something that I find many people have the same issue that I do with is when I put on a pair of, say, vapor flies or streak flies even, and I'm starting at a slow pace, it's a bit more difficult to start at that slow pace wearing such a fast shoe. So something like the Pegasus Plus, starting a slower run, say a progression run, and getting faster over time is a little bit more comfortable doing it in. And also I feel like I'm not wasting miles on the shoe. If I'm going to wear my Vaporflies, I don't really want to be running miles at 7-minute pace, 8-minute pace. If I'm wearing my Pegasus Plus and I have a couple slow miles working down towards, 6-minute pace, that's fine. Threshold workouts also went pretty well in this, though I will say, when compared to something like the Zoomfly 6, I would prefer the Zoomfly 6, but this is absolutely manageable in the Pegasus Plus and wasn't that difficult. I just think that having a carbon plate is going to help with the recovery process. It's not going to put as much strain on my legs than it will wearing something like the Pegasus Plus, but this is absolutely fast enough to get a progression or a threshold done. So I didn't really have too much problem running slower workout paces, if you will. When it comes to faster reps, I could definitely rip some reps in these shoes. I think I did a mile repeat workout where the fastest rep I ran was around 546, which isn't anything crazy, but at the same time, it just shows that this does have a range of, different paces that it can go at. So 546, especially for an interval workout, is not bad at all, and it was one of the last miles I ran during that workout, so I was quite pleased, to be completely honest. So where does this shoe rank in my workout shoes? Well, number one, like I said, I would really prefer to wear something like my Zoomfly 6s or my Streak Flies, depending on the workout I'm doing. If I'm going to be doing a threshold workout, the Zoomfly 6 is my staple shoe at this point. If I'm going to be doing intervals or faster paced workouts, the Streak Flies are definitely my go-to. Like I said earlier, I do think progression runs are probably the perfect place for this type of shoe, but after, a couple weeks being into my programming, I don't often do progression runs unless it's something like a progression long run, which those are even more rare, honestly. So it's an interesting spot for this shoe. But that's just particularly for me because I want to use this shoe as a workout shoe. What is this shoe really primarily focused on, in my opinion? And that is going to be a overall daily shoe that you can use for just about anything. I really think the selling point of this shoe and the question, or the answer to my question, what's the point of this shoe? I think it's a do-it-all shoe, genuinely. I think that Nike developed this shoe primarily to give a shoe to the people that want to only have one shoe and use it for everything. You could argue the Pegasus is basically that idea, and the Pegasus Plus is just elevating it on the speed side. But also, with the new Vomeros coming out and the new Vomero lineup, if you will, it's hard for me to really comprehend what the thought process is behind a lot of these shoes that Nike develops. So I can really only say what my personal feeling is. And my personal feeling is when this shoe was made, a lot of people wanted the turbo back. They couldn't. Nike's doing this whole weird naming thing, so they created the Pegasus Plus and basically said, here's the turbo that you love and miss, but also we have so many different workout shoes at this point between, some people use the structures like Cole Hawker Cooper Tier. Some people use the Streak Flies, especially with the new Streak Fly that came out, the Zoom Fly 6, the Alpha Flies, the Vapor Flies. There's so many different workout shoes that Nike currently has. It'd be odd to make another one that really is primarily only focused on workouts. So this does really, to me, feel like a do-it-all shoe. And I do think it does a great job at being able to handle slower paces and faster paces. I did run an easy run in this just to break it in the first time I got in, and I thought that was fine. Even my progressions runs where I'm starting out at a slower pace, I think that is good. The problem gets to be is that if you are going to buy one shoe and you're going to use it as a do-it-all shoe, that is great. But I really just would not recommend that. I do think having a proper shoe rotation is the best long run. If you're wearing a different pair of shoe each day, and you could even just have two, your shoe's going to get a longer time to recover and it's going to last longer. Your legs are going to thank you for it in the long run, like I said. And if you are going to have a shoe rotation, well, what shoe could this replace in the rotation? If I'm being honest, I would prefer the Vomeros for my easy runs, especially the new pair that came out. I've heard nothing but good things. These are an old pair of 17s. The 18s I hear are spectacular. But yeah, the Vomeros I think are the perfect easy run shoe. I honestly think they're probably better than the Pegasus at this point, especially if your easy runs are easy runs. You're not really picking up the pace too much. You're just going out there and relaxing. It's just a comfortable shoe. It's not max cushion, but it's more cushion than a Pegasus. And I do think that's something that I appreciate, especially for running on the roads. And I know a lot of people do run on the roads, sidewalks, concrete, whatever it may be. So I think the Vomero is just such a good shoe for that. When it comes to long runs and even recovery runs, I would say, I think the Invincible 3s, and this is now turning into, if I'm not mistaken, the Vomero Pluses or something along that line. The Invincible 3 and whatever the next max cushion shoe in the Vomero lineup happens to be is just a staple of a shoe. I can't believe they're not making an Invincible 4, but that's a whole nother rant of mine if I'm being honest. So Invincible 3 is the perfect long run shoe in my opinion and recovery shoe. I know some people like to say that the Invincible 3 feels a little bit faster than when they put it on. It's hard to run at a slower pace. But for me, the day after a workout when I'm feeling at my just the worst realistically because my legs are shot, I put a pair of my Invincible 3s on and I feel like I could run as slow as I wanted to and it wouldn't be a problem. It's more probably so because of the max cushion than anything. But like I said, perfect long run shoe as well. I would take this over the Pegasus Plus any day of the week. And then finally, when it comes to workout, like I've already kind of been saying, but the Zoom Fly 6 I would much prefer. A plated shoe is, hit or miss for some people. Some people still don't like carbon plates in their shoes. But I also feel like this is not a very aggressive shoe. If I wanted to run faster, like I said, I'd put on a pair of Streak Flies. But I do feel like this is a, perfect in between for threshold pace and a little bit faster. And like I said, I just would prefer this. I feel like this is a better shoe for me at least for workouts. So there's definitely a better shoe in every category, especially with the fact that the Invincibles are $180, the Zoom Fly 6s are $180, the new Vomeros I believe are $155, and you can probably get a pair of old Vomeros for even cheaper. I believe I got these for like $70 about 6 months ago or so when I first got them. So it's hard for me to really argue a reason to get these shoes unless you can get them cheap. I think that's really where a lot of people are going to be looking at getting a pair of these, is that if you can go on Dick's or Nike or wherever and get these for $80, $90, well, that's going to save you money. And honestly, these can pass as kind of whatever shoe you want them to be. If you want them to be an easy run shoe, go ahead, wear these over the Vomeros, especially if you can get them cheaper. If you want it to be a workout shoe, go ahead, wear these over the Zoom Fly 6s. It's going to be you know, a little bit cheaper, especially because I think the Zoom Fly 6s are still a little bit more expensive. Though, that being said, if it's only, you know, $10, $20 difference, I'd probably still get the Zoom Fly 6s, so that's really up to you. But like I said, it definitely comes down to what you're in the market for and how much of a budget you have. If you have the budget where you can properly set up a shoe rotation, it's always going to pay off more in the long run, and it's not going to cost you any more realistically. You are realistically going to save money having a proper shoe rotation because you will get more mileage out of 2 shoes than you will just 1. And I even have 3 to 4 shoes that I rotate throughout on a daily basis. So I'm really pushing 500 to 600 miles in basically all my shoes. And like I said, it's going to save you money in the long run instead of wearing a pair of shoes for, say, 400 miles and then having to get a new pair. So if you can, set up a shoe rotation, find out what works best for you. But if you really do need a do-it-all shoe, or even a shoe you just want to take on vacation with you and you only want to bring 1 pair of shoes, I mean, it's a great do-it-all shoe. I won't lie. It's the jack of all trades in my opinion. I don't think there's a better shoe that can do quite what this Pegasus Plus can do, whether it be slower runs, long runs, workouts, all that type of stuff. But it doesn't shine in any of those areas in my opinion. So basically, what's the purpose of the Pegasus Plus? In my opinion, it's a do-it-all shoe. 1 shoe, do whatever you want with it. You can bring it with you wherever you go and use it for no matter what type of run you have. Fast repeats, you can get away with interval work, you know, thresholds, all that good stuff. It's doable. Long runs, doable. No carbon plate, again, so that could be a good thing or a bad thing depending on who you are. $180 is a lot of money to spend though on a shoe in my opinion, so I would try to get these for cheap if you can. But that's going to be it for me. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. I'm definitely going to be using these as much as I can, finding places for them. And I'll try to give you an updated opinion if my mind changes. I don't expect it to, of course. But yeah, any questions, comments, or concerns, drop them in the comment section down below. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video, found something interesting or, you know, some new information about it. If you really want the in and out of this shoe, I'd go recommend watching Kofuzi's video on the Pegasus Plus. He always does a great job breaking down all the specific details of every shoe that he reviews. I mean, he is the go-to guy when it comes to shoe reviews. There's no question there. So yeah, but otherwise, I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Love all things. Peace out.